Hi everybody, this is James Bernard, and I'm an instructor at Dubspot in Los Angeles. Today, I want to explore some of the creative options that you have when you're transitioning from one section to another in a dance floor track. As a teacher, one of the really common questions that I get from students is how you can do this transition to a breakdown in a song. It's pretty difficult when you take a song that's running at full speed, high energy, and you want to take it to a different place. It's hard to reduce or eliminate some of that energy level without making it sound like the carpet has been completely pulled out from the song and you just lose the dance floor. So there's a few ways to do this, but there's a very common trick that's used in a lot of electronic music. And it involves using spatial effects, so things like reverbs and delays. And for lack of a better term of what to call it, I think a lot of people really call it the washout type effect. And that's the sound of a song that just kind of totally washes out into some noisy sort of spatial sound. And you hear it a lot in things like techno, electro house, dubstep. Let's take a look at how we would actually build a device that will let us create these washout type effects. So we're going to go through, I've got a little tune here, and let's just kind of let you hear what it sounds like as the full scene. That's this. And we'll just stop it for a second. So, one of the really powerful devices that's included in Ableton Live is something called the Audio Effect Rack. If you've never used it, basically what it allows you to do, and we'll make a new return channel, we have one right there, we'll just drag the Audio Effect Rack in there. And what the Audio Effect Rack allows you to do is it allows you to place multiple effects inside of one container, if you will. And you can use anything from either internal effects or even VST or plugins. We can also map out parameters that can be controlled or changed from macros. So a macro, actually one knob, can control many different parameters. So let's show you how we would create this washout type effect. All right, so what I'm going to do is have this audio effect rack right here. And the first thing I'm going to do is let's bring in, let's say, a simple delay. So we drag it in. And the next thing, maybe we're going to want, let's say, a reverb, okay? And for this, you can use either an algorithmic or a convolution-based reverb. For this type of effect, I tend to favor a convolution-based reverb because it gives a much more deep sort of sound. And for that, if you go to Max for Live, there's one in there called the Convolution Reverb Pro. I'm going to make sure that when we're placing our effects in here, we want to make sure they go right at that little bracket section there. Otherwise, it will take the effect and put it outside of the range, and it's not going to be packed into this audio effect device. So the next thing I think we would want to put in is let's put in a compressor to kind of give it a little bit of a way to control just how high this effect's going to go. So again, there's our compressor. And then the other thing, the last thing to put in a chain here would be an EQ. Let's say the EQ8. We'll put that right here. And what we're going to do is use that EQ8 to allow us to drop out some of the low end or the bass as we add this washout effect. So settings here, you can set them to whatever you want. I'm not going to go too into detail as far as what the settings might be here. But one thing that we want to do is look at this macro section. Okay, so we enable that here. And what I'm going to want is that this effect is not on at all until we turn one knob. So let's turn all the wet dry or dry wet amounts down to 0. And that includes the compressor as well. And on the EQ, it's always going to be on, but unless we actually engage something here, nothing will be heard. So we're going to assign this macro 1 to be the wet dry amount for all of these effects. So we'd probably give some feedback on the delay and right click on the dry wet for the delay, map it to macro 1. Same thing for the convolution reverb, map it to dry wet. Same thing for the compressor. And then the last thing we're going to do is take this EQ, and I'm going to do a high pass filter on the first band. And the frequency band here, we're just going to right click and assign that to the dry wet amount as well. Now, if I turn this knob, you'll see that the dry wet amounts on the 3 effects, the compressor, the delay, the reverb, all those go up. But the other thing that's happening is that the frequency is sweeping as well. Well, we don't want it to go quite as high as it allows it, which is all the way up to the top. So we're going to want to edit that. So we just click on the map section here, and you see where it has the EQ8. We just change the max amount here. And let's say we get it to about, I don't know, 356 or so. All right. And so that's really quickly how we can make that effect. Now, as far as The settings within, what type of reverb algorithm you want to use, the settings of the compressor, that's all something that you might want to tweak to see how it's going to work for you and what's going to suit the sound that you're looking for. But I already actually have this effect here, and I put it on the master section because there's a couple of ways that you can use this effect. You can either have it so that you have the entire song being washed out, or I can just do it on individual parts. Say, for example, I just want the music parts to be washed out, but to leave the kick or maybe the kick and percussion. Okay, so enough talking. Let's see how this effect sounds now. And I've got everything kind of going. I'm just going to start with a real simple kick, synth loop, and maybe some bass to kind of give it a little bit of a build up. And then when I turn, I have a macro. This macro here is assigned to a knob on my controller. So when I turn my knob, my wet dry happens and I get all of the effect happening as well. So let's go into that. We'll hit start. And let's start adding some of that washout effect, I think, here, right? So really easy allowed us to kind of take that section there and bring in everything. And again, we could do the same thing here. Now I just got that kick and some perk and some pad stuff going on. And again, if we wanted to give it that other type of feel again, where we're just bringing the washout in. Right? So really easy. You get to see that that's the effect. It's a really powerful effect to use when you're using or looking to make transitions from one section to another in dance music, especially stuff for big rooms or the dance floor material. Pretty simple to put together, very effective. Again, we could take that same effect that's right here and we can assign it to the return channel instead, and then just decide which one of the parts are going to go to it by using RC return. That's how you create a washout effect inside of Ableton Live. I want to thank you for watching the video, and I'm going to be exploring a number of other creative options when it comes to Ableton Live in the weeks coming. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. For more information on our courses in New York, Los Angeles, and online, head over to www.dubspot.com.
Welcome to Dubspot. We believe in providing you hands-on experience right away. Whether you're completely new to music and want to turn the sounds in your head into a musical reality, or you're an experienced artist looking to refine your skills and add new tools to your arsenal, we're ready to meet you at your level. For students of all ages, all levels, and all styles of music, Dubspot is here to help you achieve your goals. With course offerings both online wherever you are and at our school in the heart of New York City, we are ready to guide you through the next phase of your musical transformation. Whether you want to produce music, DJ, or do both, you've come to the right place. Come explore Dubspot for yourself. Become a part of our community and make music.